Our next award is going to be presented as the Lifetime Achievement Award, and this is to Betsy Greene. The text of this award reads, "This award honors those individuals who have dedicated a professional lifetime to upholding both the letter and the intent of Article 1, Sections 12 and 23 of the Indiana Constitution." And Betsy Greene, I'm going to invite your law partner, Fred, to come up for a moment to the stage to speak about your life and this well-deserved honor. I know.
Not too much of it.
You have this set up?
Yeah, and Sarah's going to come up when I need it. So, hey, everybody. So Judge Bradford, when we were all filing in, said, when he saw me, he said, "The father of the bride." I'm like, more like the little brother. I'm like the ring bearer, right? That like goes in the wrong direction. So, but I want to thank everyone for being here, of course. I want to start by thanking our special guests that came in. I want to just briefly, you don't have to stand, just, and most of you know some of the people at the tables, but want to make sure you all know that Betsy's children, Ryan and Katie, came along with, of course, son-in-law Matt, that many of you know. I want to also introduce our senior paralegals, Diana Patton and Stacy Sons. I want to thank them for making the trip today. I also want to introduce Betsy's brother, Jeff Greene. Thank you, Jeff, for coming. Also want to introduce Matt and Elise Sanguinetti, who flew in from the Bay Area. Elise and Matt are longtime AAJ friends and members of our extended family. Elise, in particular, is the past president of the Consumer Attorneys of California and also of AAJ. So, thank you all for coming. So, I also want to take a moment. As with any trial lawyer presentation, there are always curveballs. I was handed just before I came up here a statement from Mary Alice McClarty, who is a longtime friend of Betsy's and our firm, and also a past president of the American Association for Justice. So it says, "Betsy, what a wonderful honor. She is so deserving of this recognition as an outstanding lawyer, person, mother, wife, and friend. I've watched her grow in her profession and in the organizations that she has contributed to and inevitably became a leader of. I first met Betsy through my dear friend Mary Beth Ramey. Mary Beth was a wonderful mentor to Betsy. She was also a wonderful mentor to me when I started out in ITLA, which was later renamed the American Association for Justice. Betsy was always available to help me organize a project or speak to a group of trial lawyers. We also were connected through the Trial Lawyers College in Wyoming and enjoyed our time together there for more training in our profession. When I was president of AAJ, we had our annual convention in Chicago. My 3 adult children and one of my oldest grandsons attended, and we enjoyed sharing the joyful time together. My son Brett enjoyed getting to know Betsy and Jeremy, who probably bought him a few drinks, which always helps with the bonding with new friends. In 2012, Betsy and Jeremy and Fred and Jennifer came to Washington, where I had a condo. We had a great time celebrating President Obama's inauguration. Through the years, Betsy has become one of my best friends, and I am blessed to have her in my life. I am sorry I'm not able to be there in person, Betsy, but you can bet that my heart is there with you. I am so proud of you. I love you. Mary Alice from Dallas. So, and with that, there is another surprise presentation.
Betsy Greene getting the Lifetime Achievement Award. I cannot think of a better person for this. When you want something done, you call Betsy Greene. Betsy, thank you so much for everything you've done and your commitment to the 7th Amendment trial by jury. We love you. Thank you.
If you couldn't hear it, what Linda said was what we all know. If you need something done, you call Betsy Greene. So that's what it said. So, all right. Gosh, guys. It is December of 2004. Now, December is always a month kind of mixed with a lot of excitement, right, because of the holidays, a little bit of anxiety because of the holidays, fun, a lot of fun, getting to go to parties, see friends, family, catch up with people that you haven't seen in a while. It's also a little stressful in our business getting those books done, knowing what your end of year numbers are going to be, all of that stuff. And then, December is also like the first real month of winter, so it's also kind of gray. The days are short. It's kind of slushy outside sometimes. So it's in this mix in December of 2004 that my friend and mentor, Betsy Greene, has announced that she is going to be leaving the office that we've been at and going out on her own. Now, for me, being a young lawyer, that increased the anxiety that I was feeling. But I got to confess, there was a little bit of hope thrown in there, too, that maybe someday she might have a spot for me. So I'm feeling all of this when Betsy comes up to me one December day and says, "Hey, Fred, I want to run a 5K, and there's a training program at the local YMCA. Would you do it with me?" Now, I mean, obviously being the male Adonis, the epitome of athleticism, I said, "Sure, yeah, let's do this, Betsy. Let's do it together." So we get in our car, we drive to the south side of Bloomington to the Monroe County YMCA. It is a typical gray, overcast, slushy day in December when we park in the parking lot. We make our way into the lobby. The bright lights from the fluorescent lighting are overhead. We walk up to the very earnest, excited volunteer behind the counter, and I say, "We're here for the 5K training." She has this odd look on her face, but then it registers what I'm talking about, and so she takes the form and she slides it over to me, and I pick it up, and it says half marathon training. And I say, "Betsy," who's right next to me, "this says half marathon training." And Betsy says, "Yeah, half marathon, that's a 5K, right?" And I'm like, "No, it's a 25K. And so Betsy grabs the pen, grabs the piece of paper, signs it, laughs, ha 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 ha, looks it over to me, and just waits for me to sign the damn thing. Now, this true story will tell you two things about my dear friend. That brilliant brain doesn't do math at all. Numbers mean nothing to her. She could have the biggest settlement in the freaking universe, and she's like, "Oh, we're going to have a terrible month. I just don't know." So it didn't matter if it was a 5K or a 25K or a 100K. And that's the other thing that you need to know about Betsy Greene. As Linda Lipson said, if you want something done, ask Betsy, because it will get done. When she makes up her mind to do something, she is going to do it. And so I sign up, we do the training, we run the Louisville Half Marathon in April of 2005. A month later, Greene and Schultz is born, and in some regards, the rest is history. Now, there is some appropriate irony with training for a long race, an endurance race, and being someone's life partner, business partner, law partner. There's a lot of excitement that goes with both. There's a lot of highs, a lot of great moments. There are candidly some lows. There are some tough times. There's a lot of people that help you along the way. And then there are those quiet moments when you have to ask yourself the hard questions. You learn a lot about the people you train with, the people you work with, the people you live with. I've learned a lot of things about Betsy Greene. And Betsy's learned a lot of things about me. And what we have come to understand is we've got some similar strengths. And then we got some things that are just very different about us. Betsy is organized, on time, if not early. She always has a plan. If she doesn't have a plan and she knows she needs one, woe to you if you're standing in the way of her plan. And worse yet, if you deviate from the perfectly prepared plan, oh, God help you. Because she is focused, she is task-oriented, and she always shows up prepared. And I have Betsy for all of that stuff. The thing that I think, in my opinion, most stands out about something that's different about Betsy Greene than anybody else I have ever met in my entire life is that she has a loyalty gene that is absolutely 100% unique, different, and defining. For example, how many of you could honestly say that you have kept in contact with that friend from middle school that you hung out with in high school, that you then sort of kind of parted ways when you went to college, and then you didn't have really anything in common with once you went to law school, and then life took on a whole nother course? And have you really talked to that person in a long time? I can tell you Betsy has. Who among you would have stuck with someone a year and a half in to the practice of law when your line of credit's been extended twice, there's $6,000 left on it, and the guy is barely making ends meet? Betsy did. Who never mails it in for that client who just doesn't deserve it, who doesn't deserve your best because their case stinks, they lied to you, or they didn't tell you everything, and it's not going to make a difference if you prepare or not? Betsy never does. And who among you loves and is loyal to this profession and the rule of law so much that you have donated thousands, I mean thousands, of hours to train other lawyers, many of them in this room, and many from all over the country? I mean from California to Florida to Georgia to New York to Michigan to Alaska, believe it or not. Who among you have done that, and done that without expectation of payment of any kind, and without even expectation of reimbursement for the travel costs involved? I can tell you that Betsy Greene has. Now, we are contingency fee lawyers, I get that. But I promise you, most of us in this room actually know what our time is worth. If we had to break it down to an hourly rate, we could do that pretty quickly. Betsy can't, one, because she can't math, right? We've already established that. $25K. And it's not that Betsy doesn't know what her time is worth, or that her time has value. She understands her time is very valuable, but she has no concept of how much time she has given to advancing our profession, being a trial lawyer, making sure that other people, other lawyers, are better, because she understands that while she may have 60 to 100 clients at any given time, so do the people that she's teaching, and if they're public defenders, which she teaches many of, they probably have 200 to 500 clients at any given time. And making that lawyer better means that those clients have a better shot in our justice system. And I am here to tell you, as somebody that does math okay, that over the last 20 years, Betsy Greene's time given to this profession, making all of us better, exceeds well in excess of $1 million of time given, just given away, so that we all can be better. So yeah, December of 2004, I picked up that form, I signed it, I wrote that, I practiced with her, I trained with her, I ran with her. As Betsy would say, I bought the ticket and I took the ride. And the funny thing is, we now present our own annual half marathon, the Greene and Schultz Hoosier Half. It also has a 5K. I assure you. Yeah. And Betsy, is as long as you'll have me, I'll keep running this race with you. I love you.
very wise person told me that I should soak this in. And I am feeling the love. Thank you. It is so fitting. The very first ITLA event that I went to was in 1989, and it was the very first Lifetime Achievement Award seminar. And that was my very first ITLA event. It was to honor Sid Berger. I did not know Sid. It was, I think, awarded posthumously. But when I sat in that room and I heard about the work he did for civil rights and fighting for clients, and I saw the people that were speaking for the 2 days, people like Max Goodwin, people like Dan Roby, people like Scott Montross, Bill Hurst, Buddy Yosha, I felt like I belonged. I felt like I was a place that I belonged. And at the end of the first day, this woman I'd never met came up to me, and she put out her hand, and she said, "I'm Mary Beth Ramey, and we need you, and I want you to please be involved in this organization." And Mary Beth was my first ITLA mentor, and Rich, and it just means so much to be receiving this award at this Lifetime Achievement since I went to the very first one. Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Fred. Thank you. Sarah, congratulations to you. Do you know my law partner was the first young lawyer to receive the Max Goodwin Award? So that's a nice full circle too, and it's an honor to be celebrating with you. I do have some thanks. Thank you for introducing everybody, Fred. But I do have some thanks. Jeremy, I would not be standing here without you. My husband, let's see, he was a house dad when we first got married, because you can't be a trial lawyer and worry about if they're going to put your kid out on the stoop of the daycare at 6 o'clock, right? I can't say, "Oh, excuse me, I got to go." You were just always there. And when I made the decision to leave and start my own practice, you were right there with me. And my real lifetime achievements are also at this table. Ryan, Katie, I'm so proud of you, and I'm so grateful for you all. And Matt and Elise, they surprised me. I had no idea. They actually, Fred and my husband actually pulled it off, but they didn't tell Jennifer Schultz. So, there's somebody really special in this room that I would not be here without. She'll tell us how many. I think it's 24 years. We've never had a crossword. We're going to have a crossword probably after this, because Diana, would you please stand up and let everybody give you a hand? So I wanted to be a lawyer since I was 9 years old. My father went to night school. He'd been an engineer, and I apologize. I was teaching last week in Atlanta, and I think I kind of strained my voice a little bit. But I'm not going to stop talking. So I wanted to be a lawyer from the time I was 9 years old. That's all I wanted to do. That's all I was ever going to do. As the years went by, perhaps in my teenage years, there might be some people who questioned whether I was going to actually get that done. But I did. And I don't know, I think it was always the idea of helping people. I never really liked bullies, and I always thought things should be fair. And I remember telling my mom when I used to be a foot stomper, "That's not fair." But I always was going to be a lawyer. Along the way, funny things happen to you in life. I never thought, I didn't realize when I first started waiting tables, that probably ended up being the best training I could have, to be a trial lawyer. After all, right, a jury is just a party of 6. And you better figure it out, right? You better figure it out pretty fast. Some people want to be chatted up, some people don't. Some people want you to stay away, some people want you to make recommendations. Well, you better figure that out, and you better figure it out really fast. And I actually loved waiting tables. I love people. I love talking to people. I love meeting people, and it ended up being a really great training. But then time came when I had to actually go maybe get a job. I graduated from law school. I was sort of in oh, what do you mean? No more student loans. What do you mean? I got to leave Bloomington. I didn't leave Bloomington, but anyway, so I'd always wanted to be a criminal defense lawyer. So I thought that the peace and dignity of the state of Indiana could stand some screw ups, whereas my poor criminal defense clients couldn't. So I got a job at the Morgan County Prosecutor's Office. That's where I started my career. And it was so fortunate. I learned so much. And I learned a lot about what it is to be a lawyer and what it is to be a professional. And in a small town, I learned it's a very round world. You know, those people you're in court with this week, you're probably going to be in court with next month. And those judges, they don't change very often. So I'm so grateful, Steve Oliver, John Bourne. I learned so much from you guys. But I also learned what it is to be a lawyer and what it is to be part of the bar and have a duty. One of the beautiful things I loved about being a prosecutor was, and I was fortunate in my boss, Jane Greene, because Jane charged me with the duty to do the right thing. And I loved that. I didn't send somebody to prison for stealing a steak just because I could, right? You got to try to treat everybody fair. You got to try to do the right thing. I learned that. I learned respect for the court. I learned respect for candor to the tribunal, respect to the court, and I learned the utter awesome power of a jury. I mean, just 6 regular people get to come in and make decisions that are so important. Then I was fighting crime and helping people who had been hurt by crime. But I'm still in awe and will always be in awe of our American system of justice and our jury trial system. The other thing I loved about it, I learned is I really do love trying cases. And I understand I got the burden of proof, but what I loved was the burden of going forward, right? It's my show. It's our show. We're limited only, I'm fond of saying, by my imagination and the rules of evidence, which aren't necessarily very limiting if you read them and know them, right? I took those values and when I went into civil practice and when I began representing hurt people, the values of doing the right thing, the values of being a lawyer, and respect for the court. I do have to thank Ken. I don't know if he's here, but I do have to thank Ken Nunn because Ken did hire me. And he did encourage me to be a really, really good lawyer. I kind of think of those days as have briefcase, will travel, because boy, I tried cases all over Indiana. And I met lots of people and I talked to lots of jurors. And I learned the power we have as trial lawyers to help people and to make a difference. So when I have actually been on the moral character and fitness whatever the name of the Supreme Court committee is. I've been on it since 1991. I have toyed with the idea of asking, hey, did you guys forget about me? Is there a term limit? But then that means I wouldn't get to talk to all the young lawyers, and I love interviewing them, and I think about the things that I say to them. And so what I say is, I wish you all half the joy in your career that I've had in mine. That's what I say. Every single day, I thank my lucky stars for my husband, my family, my friends, and the fact that I get to be a lawyer. so much joy. This organization has brought me so much joy. Believe it or not, it makes me happy to answer your lean questions. Even when you don't search the archives and ask me for the 10th time. And the time that I've spent in Trial Lawyers College, yes, I want to pay it forward, and yes, I feel like I feel like it's important to pay it forward, but I get a lot out of that too. I get the satisfaction of meeting the next generation and working hard in training to be a really, really good lawyer. And I get so much joy. I wish you all knew how proud I am to represent you at the American Association for Justice. And they know when Indiana's in the house, right? And I'm so grateful for everything that I have received back from the community of lawyers. But behind it all, and what's driven it all, is I think of all the people that I have represented and for whom I have made a difference and for whom you all are making a difference. And we make a difference together when we work together, and that's what we do in this organization. One other thing I say to the young lawyers that I get to interview so that they can sit and take the bar, I tell them in the end, I tell them that ethics doesn't live in a book on the shelf. That ethics isn't like somewhere around the corner that I have to go look up every once in a while. Ethics is how we live our lives every single day. It's how we interact with each other. It's how we interact with the courts. And it's how we interact with our clients. So in the end, it's such an honorable profession to be a part of, but really all I have as a lawyer is my word. And I guard it jealously. So I'm going to take a little point of personal privilege here, because this is an honorable profession that we belong to and that I've devoted my life to. And so I can't say this as well as the ABA said it, so I'm gonna read from their statement. We support the right of people to advance their interest in courts of law when they've been wronged. We reject the notion that the U.S. government can punish lawyers and law firms for who they represent, punish law firms who represent certain clients, or punish judges who rule certain ways. We cannot accept government actions that seek to twist the scales of justice in this manner. There are clear choices facing us right now. We can choose to remain silent and allow those acts to continue, or we can stand for the rule of law. Lee Christie, thank you for the May 1st reaffirmation. We can stand for our values. We call upon the entire profession, including lawyers in private practice from Main Street to Wall Street, as well as those in corporations and those who serve in elected positions, to speak out against intimidation. If lawyers do not speak, who will speak for our judges? Who will protect our bedrock of justice? Who will protect our trial by jury, the most wonderful thing in the world, the best justice system in the world? Who, if we don't speak now, who's going to speak? Now's the time. So I stand with you all in support of trial by jury, in support of the 7th Amendment, and I'm so proud to be a trial lawyer. Thank you.
Wow. I'm ready to go out and fight. I don't know if... tonight, At 5:15, there will be a reception honoring Betsy. It's at the Indiana Roof Ballroom. And then we've got our seminar starting here in 5 minutes to talk about winning truck cases. But Betsy, thank you so much. You're very inspiring, really. And thank you all for coming. That's all we have.